Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for joining us this very day. It is always a pleasure to have you. Always a great opportunity to be a part of this very moment in time. You know, in the next 20 years, 30 years, this very video will be on YouTube. And I pray God that it will be so. But I just want to say, it is very important to learn. It is very important to get to understand what it takes and how it should be when it comes to understanding, business and understanding relationships and even understanding what religion is there in this world to do. Before I continue, I just want you to take a moment so that you can begin to get into the depth of understanding that this life requires, wisdom. It requires understanding. It requires knowledge. And I think it is important for you, even as you're joining me this very moment. Wherever you are, we always begin with a word of prayer. This is not a religious platform for your information, but we begin with a word of prayer so that we can be able to make this thing have a sense of what we really want to display into the world. So if you're watching me all the way from South Africa, all the way from Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, Senegal, and France, all parts of Europe, welcome indeed, because it is always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Today we want to talk about understanding the business model of relationships and marriage. And before we begin, like I said, we want to begin with a word of prayer. So I think wherever you are, let us just begin with that very word of prayer and establish something as we continue. So Father God, we say thank you for this moment. We say thank you for this opportunity. We say thank you even for breathing life into our faculties. Thank you for opening our minds, even as we get to share and we get to this very conversation. I pray that our hearts will be illuminated, our way of thinking will be enlarged, and we shall be able to see the truths that were hidden from long time ago. And we shall be able, oh God, to bring about life that brings that elevation in our spirits to function in totality of what you established for humanity. So as we delve into the topic of this day, we pray that your wisdom will enable us to express this without any biasness. In Christ we pray. Amen and amen. So if you're listening to me, I know how the world functions. And maybe there are things that are hidden that most of us cannot really relate to that reality. Because those things are the things that make us lose to understand and grasp the realities of what it is. My dear brothers, as you're watching me, you can see a bed behind me and there's a seat behind me. I'm in one of the best Airbnbs in one locality, Mtwapa, all the way in Mtwapa. And I want you to understand that it is always a pleasure to be a part of these very investments and coming to have time in these very locations, because businesses along the coastal region, there are many and it is working. People from all over, they've come to the coastal region and they're investing. Like this one unit, it's a 2-bedroom unit in Mtwapa, and it's a business. And that is why the topic of today, it's all about understanding the business model. And we're going to be talking about that. So what are you doing currently? What are the things that you're doing? What are the things that you're thinking of doing? And one of the things that I keep on asking people, what are your plans in this life? What do you want to achieve in this life? What are the things that you're thinking of when it comes to establishing something indeed? But so many people have not really gotten the concept of understanding that when it comes to being in a relationship, being in marriage, there are certain things that you need to consider. And one of the things is many people get involved in relationships, in marriages, and they've lost the sense of becoming because their relationships were based on how they felt. There was no need for them to understand the purpose as to why they're supposed to be in relationships, in marriage and all that. Because marriage is not something that you think of. Marriage is something you not only get into it because you thought of it. There should be a plan as to why you need to get into marriage. And we call it purpose. There should be a need of understanding how you should enable yourself to function beyond what many people talk about, because marriage is something that people should take it seriously. The way you take seriously your singlehood, the way you take seriously your business, the way you take it seriously, when it comes to children and all that, even marriage with your partner, it should be something that should be taken seriously at the end of the day. So today I want to talk about 6 things that are very crucial when it comes to understanding the business model in relationships and marriage. So healthy relationships and marriages share principles with successful businesses. And I want us to talk about it because while marriage is a covenant built on love rather than a commercial transaction, it still requires intentional stewardship, wise decision making, and mutual investment. So one of the point is vision and purpose, which is the mission. So what do I mean with that? Every successful organization begins with a clear vision. Likewise, a relationship without shared purpose often drifts. So one of the things that you should ask, why are we together? That is one of the things that many people don't ask when they get into marriages, when they get involved in any kind of relationship. There should be a vision as to why you are getting into marriage. There should be a purpose. And that vision and purpose will eventually create a mission. But so many of us, we are getting married and getting involved with people because of how you felt, because of the sex, because of someone's beauty, because of someone's, way of doing things. And that is not the reason as to why you should be in marriage. The reason as to why you should get involved with someone should be far and beyond their feelings and your feelings. So you should ask yourself, why are we together? What is the reason for us to be a part of each other? Why do we exist in this relationship? And then the other question you should ask yourselves, what kind of family are we building? What kind of family are we building? Ladies, don't get into that man's life because he has money, because he has everything that he can give to you. And it is quite unfortunate what is happening in our society. Many ladies are getting involved with the men because of what they can be given. Nowadays, when a lady sleeps with a man, when a lady has sex with a man, now he wants to make the man to be obligated, to provide for her and to do whatever he can for her, sacrifice everything as long as this lady sleeps with this guy. And it is quite unfortunate. So my dear sister, wherever you are and my brother, you should ask yourself, why are we together? What kind of family are we building? And many of you understand how the world is functioning. And all the things that are happening in this world, it is because people are not asking themselves these questions. You want to have marriage and build something in your relationship, but there is nothing that is of substance that you're bringing forth. So what legacy do we want to leave? One day you're going to grow old. One day there's nothing that you're going to do by yourself because you'll be of old age. Just imagine reading a book, How to Make Money, and you're 95 years old, almost arriving to your graveside. It is quite unfortunate what is happening in our society today. In fact, many people, they've lost their vision and they've lost their purposes because also they've been overwhelmed by material possessions, material things in this world. You know, the kind of car they want to drive. Am I saying that those things are bad? Those things are not bad. They are good. In fact, personally, I need them. But because I want to establish something that is futuristic, something that is far and beyond how my feelings direct me, there are things that I should ensure that I create a space whereby at the end of the day, I have someone that I can build a life with, that I can build a legacy with, I can leave a legacy with. So, what legacy do we want to leave? That is the other question that you need to ask yourself. And you need to talk with your partner. You need to talk not to your partner, but with your partner and agree, because two cannot work together unless they agree. It is a commitment that the both of you create. It is a commitment that the both of you ensures that there will be clarity in every step that you take, every move that you make. And my dear brothers and sisters, both of you need to establish something that is far and beyond how people tend to think. Because the purpose of every kind of relationship that comes about, it is all about something that is futuristic. So, how does our union serve God's purpose? That is the other question that I think it's very important that, ladies and gentlemen, you should ask yourself. How does our union serve God's purpose? Does it unveil the realities of God? Does that relationship create an atmosphere that people can say, I can study and learn from this relationship? Does it naturally affect people, how you live? Or when people see you, they say, what kind of a marriage is this? What kind of a relationship is this? So your marriage and your relationship should serve God's purpose. So this is the key principle, I think, which is very important. And love may bring two people together, but purpose keeps them moving in the same direction. So you're marrying someone because of what they have. And then one day this person decides to let you down and makes you to lose the ability to understand the perfect will of that relationship. I'm not talking to perfect people. I'm talking to two imperfect human beings. These two people that are willing to structure themselves and create a space whereby at the end of the day, there will be stability in their relationships. There will be clarity in their relationships. There will be a move of purpose in what they really want to achieve. So in the book of Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18, where there is no vision, the people perish. If your relationship has no vision, it has no purpose, it has no reality of existing in what is perfect in God's design, there will not be assurance of God's grace in that very moment. Because at the end of the day, you will be doing things because you want to just please that person. But remember, I told you a question that you should ask your partner. Does your relationship, does your marriage reflect God's purpose? It is quite impossible to manifest greatness if the two of you are not willing to co-work. If the both of you are not willing to function in something that will bring light, that will bring purpose, that will bring something that is of greatness for the cause that bringeth the two of you. Wherever you're watching me from, you know what I'm talking about. It is not just about good English. It is about the reality that is on the table. It is not about good words. It is about the truth that is. So let us go to point number 2 to make this very conversation even interesting. Number 2, investment and return, value creation. So healthy relationships thrive on continual investment, time, trust, communication, encouragement, forgiveness, and sacrifice. While love should never be reduced to a financial transaction, consistent investment naturally produces healthier relationships. So, this is what you should invest in. Number one, emotional support. My dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, what kind of a relationship are you in? Because the number one need for that relationship to thrive, that relationship to grow and become, it is when the both of you are willing to structure something far and beyond how people tend to think. Emotional support is one of the things that the two of you should discuss. Emotional support is one of the things that the both of you should take responsibility to work on. Supporting one another emotionally. When it comes to issues that are affecting you emotionally, you have to talk about it. So you have to invest in someone's emotions so that there will be a perfect way of dealing with situations. So one of the things is investment emotionally. And these are the things that people don't talk about. Are you doing the same to your partner? Do you talk? Do you have conversations with your partner? Do you talk about these things? So number two, spiritual growth. Do you talk and discuss about God? Do you involve God in your plans? I know people have their various beliefs, and there are those people who don't have, they don't even believe in anything. They don't even think about anything. And that is why at the end of the day, they lose that ability and that stand to become, because at the end of the day, their spirituality is not invested on or in, because their time is spent so much on what they really want to achieve. Their time is spent so much on what they really want to gain. At the end of the day, it does not reveal the will of God. It does not reveal the purposes of God. So number two, quality time. Somewhere back in the years I studied that the expression of love is time. If you really want to know someone really loves you, you have to get to see how are they spending time with you? How is their time with you? Have they really committed themselves to this thing that is called time? Are they willing to structure themselves when it comes to time? Are they willing to build this relationship? Because at the end of the day, it is all about having someone that is truly committed in giving you time. The best expression of love is time. If they truly love you, they will commit to give you time. And the other point, personal development. You as an individual, you need to invest in that. Before you get into marriage, you need to invest in that. Personal development, work on yourself. Most of you, you've not worked on yourself. How you keep yourself, even outside. You've not kept yourself. You're not a clean person. Mentally, you're not structured. Emotionally and also spiritually, as an individual, you've not taken time to do what we call personal development. So how will you structure yourself when it comes to being in marriage? How are you going to deal with issues if you're not capable to function and work on yourself? How are you going to make things work? Financial responsibility, the other point. When it comes to finances, when it comes to money, many people don't want to talk about it, because for them, when you touch money, you're touching a part of their life. The other day I was just walking in the streets and I met with this lady who has written something in Swahili saying, you know what, kama haunipei pesa, usinipe stress. If you're not giving me money, don't give me stress. That is what that t-shirt was displaying. And it is quite unfortunate. Many people are money-minded. That is why today's relationships are so much about money. They're so much about finances, so much about what is going to be given to them, quite unfortunate. And I want you, my dear brothers, to take time and have a personal checkup, especially emotionally, mentally, and also spiritually, to see these things. Because I don't know what is happening in our society. Quite unfortunate. And people are losing out to understand this reality. People are not ready to capture the truth of what is happening in our society. And that is why so many people are losing themselves in the process. The other point is acts of service. Acts of service. You know, many people are not humble enough to cater for their partners, to take care of their partners. And that is why when people really want to talk about relationships, marriage, and all that, people are not willing. And it is quite unfortunate. And this is what makes people to lose themselves in the process. What are you doing with yourself? What are you structuring within yourself? What are the things that you really want to build when it comes to having a relationship? And my dear brothers, I want you to understand that every good and perfect relationship is built and structured when two people come together and they are willing to serve one another. So you cannot consistently withdraw from a relationship you never invested. You cannot consistently withdraw from a relationship you invested. It is until you have a commitment to invest in that relationship. That is when you're going to see yourself thrive. That is when you're going to see yourself have something that is tangible. Point number 3, communication or information flow. You know, many people are losing the interest of having what we call communication. And that is why the reason as to why so many people are not structuring themselves in what is beneficial for their relationships. It is because of lack of communication. And we all understand that when it comes to business, businesses fail when communication breaks down, especially people who are married, people that are in a relationship. And relationships often do too. When there is no communication, when there is no proper guidelines that are going to make the relationship become. So this is what happens, my dear brothers and sisters. Relationships begin to crumble. Relationships begin to go down. So healthy communication involves, number 1, honest conversations. Are you willing to communicate with your partner with all honesty? Are you committed to do it the way it's supposed to be done? Because there are principles that guides us to that reality. So another thing, active listening. My dear sisters and brother, I know this is quite difficult for some of you. You're not ready to commit to something that is going to structure the both of you because you're not ready to listen to your partner. You're not ready to listen to what they're saying, to what they really want to achieve. Number 3, constructive conflict resolution. You know, just the other day I met with a couple and one of them had, was flirting with another person. And one of the things that I saw is that the other person was not willing to listen to the person that had, cheated on them. And I asked the other person, are you willing to bring a solution in this relationship? And they're not willing. I understand there were emotions running high and down in that particular moment. But you need to have a person that is emotionally stable to have a constructive conflict resolution. And then also transparency, which is very important. Many people are not transparent to their partners, and they are not willing to be transparent because for them, it is all about how they feel. And they don't care about the other person. My brothers and sisters, wherever you are, I think it is important for you to take responsibility to structure something that is going to build you and take, that moment that is going to help you have something that is futuristic. Because at the end of the day, it is all about being wired into honesty, because honesty is what will take you to the next level. And the other point is respectful feedback. Ladies, this is for you. A man requires respect. Are you willing to respect your partner? Are you willing to respect that man? But I know it is quite challenging when I say ladies, because even ladies deserve respect. But men honor respect much more. So my dear sister, are you willing? If you cannot respect your man, don't get married. If you cannot respect a man, don't get married, because that is where the biggest problem and the challenge is. So this is the key principle. Assumptions create distance. Communication builds understanding. Some of you, you are in good relationships. And in these good relationships, there is nothing tangible that is coming about. You are only with that person because they do things here and there. They're always quiet. They're not communicating about their feelings. They don't communicate what they really want to achieve. But at the end of the day, are you willing to communicate things that are or of purpose into that relationship? You cannot build anything if you're not willing to pursue wisdom. You cannot structure anything if you're not willing to pursue stability, especially emotionally. So it is very important to communicate and to build something far beyond how you feel, because it is about the future. It is about leaving a legacy. So point number 4, trust and accountability, relational capital. So what do we mean by this? Many at times we break trusts from people that we say that we love them. Trust from our wives, trust from our husbands, trust from people that we see a certain kind of value from them. But the biggest question is this: what is the essence of having someone that you cannot trust? What is the essence of having someone that you cannot structure your life with them? What are you willing to build? What are you willing to pursue beyond how you feel? Because trust and accountability is one thing that is necessary when it comes to being in a relationship. Trust is the most valuable currency in any lasting relationship. It is earned through consistent character and protected through integrity. So this is how trust grows. Number 1, keeping promises. If you promise that you're going to do something, you have to be committed to fulfill that promise. You have to be honest enough in due time to ensure that there will be something that will come out of that very relationship. Number 2, faithfulness. This is where so many people go wrong. They are not faithful to their partners, and they're not willing to do so because it is all about them. It is all about how they feel. So are you faithful to your partner? Number 3, honesty, which we are talking about. Number 4, reliability. Can they rely on you? Can they commit to themselves that, you know what, I can rely on this person. I can rely on them. Accountability. Are you accountable even with yourself? There are things that you cannot do because you know very well, if I do these things, I'm going to lose a moment in life and in time. So what is the need for you to have something with someone that you cannot be accountable with them? So you need to think twice and think beyond how you feel. And why do I always say how you feel? It is because we don't need to follow, to just function with our emotions, with our feelings. Every other time, if you're thinking with your feelings, you can never make the right decisions most of the time. And the other point is transparency. Are you willing to be transparent to your partner? Are you going to pursue something beyond how you feel once again? Because transparency is what provides necessary steps to create an atmosphere of trust with your partner. Are you willing to do so? Are you willing to pursue that reality? Are you willing to function in that direction? Because the reality is there is nothing that comes just like that. There should be a communication that builds that reality. So trust and accountability requires a discipline far beyond just, a reason of how you feel. It is no longer about you. So selfishness, you have to do away with it. It is no longer about you. It is about the both of you. When it comes to beginning a business, especially in marriage, it is about the both of you. It is about the two of you. And that is what is required. So point number 5, stewardship of resources. That is financial and life management. So money is only one resource. Couples must also steward time, talents, health, relationships, and opportunities. So the areas of stewardship include, number 1, budgeting and financial planning. That is one of the things. And do you talk about your money? Do you talk about how much you make? Ladies, I know most of the time, and the ladies that are not kingdom-minded, this is what they do. I want to save some money for myself for rainy days. My husband's money is our money, but my money is my money. That is not the kind of a person that should be in marriage. If you want to be like that, get another life. Do your life. Marriage does not require such kind of a mind, my dear sister. Marriage is whereby two people come together to create a sustainable environment for both of them and the children that they will produce, and many other things beyond just children. It is about generational. It is about coming generations. It is about for better, for worse. I know most of us, we don't want for worse, but it will come eventually. But you need each other. So budgeting and planning and financial planning is very important. Number 2, time management. Do you guys talk about time? Do you guys structure time? Do you guys focus on building something when it comes to time and all that? Number 3, career decisions. You should discuss about career decisions also. You should be focused to build these things together. Number 4, parenting responsibilities. And I'm going to talk a little bit about these parenting responsibilities. Have you ever seen these couples who quarrel about who is going to correct the children, who is going to do this and that for the children? And when the other parent is correcting the child, what happens? It is quite unfortunate because so many people don't want to be committed into raising children the right way. They only want it the good way. So when it comes to parenting responsibilities, it is important, my ladies and gentlemen, to do it the way it's supposed to be done. Talk about it, discuss about it. Amongst you, there's one who is a disciplinarian, or both of you can be a disciplinarian, disciplinarians. But at the end of the day, you need to discuss about it. You need to talk about it. You need to display something that is going to correct some errors, so that you cannot raise children that are not going to be committed to the truth. So parenting responsibilities are required to structure, a generation that has come out of you. And it is very important indeed. Household management. Household management. The things that happen in the house. As men, sometimes we just want to come home and find a house that is clean. And there are things, I know, men, you should ask and speak to your partner. Let them know that there are things that you don't like. Let them know that there are things that you cannot control and you cannot commit yourself to those things. Because at the end of the day, it is not about just how everything is done based on, me and me and me. You need to understand the other person. You need to hear what the other person is also saying. So spiritual growth. Spiritual growth. Do you talk about it? Do you study together? Do you study together about spirituality? Do you get along when it comes to spiritual things? Those are things that you need to consider. So prosperity in marriage is not measured only by income, but by how wisely resources are managed together. Talk about the resources, the income, the expenditure, and many other things we can talk about here. So the last point is this. Point number 6, growth, adaptation, and legacy. Long-term sustainability. Thriving businesses innovate and adapt. Strong marriages also evolve through different seasons of life. So this is what you need to focus on. 1, continuous learning. Apostle Paul said, be ye transformed, by the renewing of your mind. By the renewing of your mind. So there should be continuous learning. You should study every other day so that your mind can begin to see things differently. Do not withhold your mind from knowing something. Like it is always said, what you don't know doesn't kill you. But I want to let you know what you don't know will eventually destroy you. It will kill you. So it is important for you to function into something that will structure a future that will enable you to see the reality of all these things. So number 2, personal maturity. You need to mature yourself emotionally, mentally, spiritually. There should be maturity in how you handle things as a man and as a woman. Number 3, adapting to life changes. Adapting to life changes. You know, your wife in 2 days, 3 days, she's not going to be how she is. In the next 2 years, she's not going to be how she is. Your husband is going to change. He's not going to be the same person you thought about. What is going to happen? You need to adapt to life changes and accept that change is always present with us. So supporting one another's growth, which is very important for each one of us. So if someone grows, grow with them, help them, support them. And this is one of the things that many couples are struggling with. You know, I cannot support my wife because, one of the excuses that I get most of the time is that, you know what, if I support my wife, if she works, she's going to meet with other men out there and all that. My brother, if that woman wants to cheat on you, if she wants to do crazy things and do them against your will, she can do them even if she's not working. So stop lying to yourself. Empower your woman. Empower her. Let her exist in the reality of how life is. So number 4, no, I think it's number 4 or number 5, building a lasting legacy. I even said this previously. You have to build a lasting legacy together, where your children can look back and say, for sure, our parents did this. What are you doing with yourself? What are the things that you're structuring? What is the essence of how things should be? So you should be focused. You should be competent enough to understand that the legacy you should leave should be a fulfilling one. Not just emotionally, it should be a fulfilling one. So what you need to ask every other time, are we growing together or growing apart? What habits need to change? What values do we want to pass to the next generation? And another thing it's very important to do is to have someone you can communicate to, someone that you can communicate with. So a successful marriage is not one that avoids change, but one that grows stronger through it. So the other thing I think that is very important, the marriage business model. Think of a healthy marriage as 6 interconnected pillars. Number 1, vision, shared purpose and direction. Number 2, investment, intentional deposits of love, time and care, communication, honest and respectful change. 4, trust, the foundation of security and commitment. 5, stewardship, wise management of resources and responsibilities. And number 6, growth, continuous development toward a shared legacy. Final thought, marriage is not about business. It is not about business contract where people keep score of who gives more. It is a covenant relationship in which both partners steward their love, gifts, and responsibilities. In fact, wisely. Applying sound principles of vision, communication, accountability, stewardship, and growth can strengthen a marriage. But those principles are sustained by commitment, grace, and mutual love rather than transactions alone. In that sense, the business model of marriage is really a stewardship model, building a relationship that is resilient, purposeful, and life-giving. I just had to read that so that you and I, my dear brothers and sisters, you can be able to see the truth about this thing. Marriage requires understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, and it requires 2 people that are mature enough to grasp these realities. Hope you have been blessed. We are not going to close like that. Remember, our numbers are down there. You can call us, you can support us also. And I just want to say thank you so much for your time, and God bless you. So we're not going to live like that. My prayer is that God is going to open your eyes to see the truth, your eyes to see the reality of His intentions toward your life. May God heal you, and may God open doors for you. God bless you. Until next time.